Welcome to Outlaws and Gunslingers. From the Wild West to the rise of organized crime during the Prohibition, all the way up to today, America has had criminals, gangs, and law enforcement trying to bring them down. Join us as we profile some of the most infamous criminals, gangsters, outlaws, and lawmen in American history. True crime like you've never heard it before. Ladies and gentlemen, here are your hosts, Bang and Dang.
Welcome back to Outlaws and Gunslingers. I'm back at it with some more Gambino family. Second to last of the Gambino family before we end it next month with Sammy the Bull finally and move on to Lucchese's or somebody. We got Angelo Salvatore Ruggiero Sr. today, who is a good friend of John Gotti. So,
Quack Quack, motherfucker.
We're going to get some more John Gotti
Let's fly together.
Yeah, they called him Quack Quack. We'll find out why coming up. Yeah, like I said, this guy, he's got his own story until closely associated with Angelo della Croce as well. So check out our YouTube at Bang Dang Network. Links in the description. You can get this podcast plus our Battles of the American Civil War all in one place. If you prefer listening on, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple, leave us a review, share us with your fans, answer that Spotify question. Ruggiero's father was a first-generation immigrant from Naples who was not involved in organized crime. Look at that. Ruggiero's mother was Mary Della Croce. Ruggiero's brothers were...
Wait, is this the first one that the parents ain't involved in the crime business?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't think John Gotti's dad was.
Did he have a dad?
Everybody has a dad. His brothers were Gambino associate Salvatore Ruggiero Sr., John Ruggiero, and Francis A. Little Frankie Ruggiero. His nephew is mob associate Salvatore Ruggiero Jr., clearly. And his cousins include Gambino underboss Angelo della Croce and Sean and Shannon Connolly as well. Don't know who those guys are.
Shannon Connolly, huh? Right. That's a hell of a name.
Right.
Well, Angelo, he was born at Lutheran Hospital and raised in the East New York section of Brooklyn. High school dropout, Ruggiero grew up with future Gambino boss John Gotti and underboss Sammy Gravano. In the 50s, he was arrested for street fighting, public intoxication, car theft, bookmaking, possession of a illegal firearm, and burglary.
Pretty common.
Several of his recorded arrests as a juvenile delinquent were in the company of, you guessed it, John Gotti.
John Gotti.
Year of 1966, Ruggiero, Gotti were arrested for attempting to steal a cement mixer truck. What are they going to do with that?
Well, sell it. I don't know.
Back to the people.
Right. I found this. Could cost you, though. May 22nd, 1973, Ruggiero, Gotti, and a Gambino gunman named Ralph Galleone killed mobster James McBratney, yes, in a Staten Island bar. McBratney had recently tried to kidnap a Gambino loan shark for ransom, and Gambino family leadership wanted him dead.
Yep, gotta go.
The plan was to lure McBratney out of the bar before shooting him, but McBratney refused to cooperate. The gunmen, didn't they show badges or something? They had fake badges, yeah. And the gunmen shot him there. Gotti and Ruggiero were later convicted of manslaughter and sent to the prison. They were sent to the pokey.
Oh. July 1977. Both men released on parole. Soon after their release, Ruggiero, Gotti, inducted into the Gambino family as made men in a ceremony officiated by family boss Paul Castellano, concierge Joseph Gallo, and underboss Della Croce. And one of the last people to be made, right?
No.
For a while?
No.
Because the 80s didn't make anybody, right?
Yes, they did.
Or was it
they
in
just,
the 70s?
They just opened up the books in the 70s.
Right. So they were one of the first to get made again.
Around there, yeah.
Wow. Well, it's suggested by law enforcement that Della Croce's role as underboss and fondness for John Gotti and his nephew were the very reasons they were promoted to made men. Makes sense.
I mean, I would assume so. Well, from 77 to 84, to satisfy his parole conditions, Ruggiero took a no-show job as a salesman for Arc Plumbing and Heating Corporation, which was owned by Gambino associates Anthony and Cesar Guarino. After his brother Salvatore became a wanted fugitive, Angelo and Gene Gotti kept in touch by calling Salvatore just about every night from various public phone booths.
Fantastic.
All right, cool.
Gotta keep in touch with the old family. Ruggiero also participated in 1985 slaying of Gambino leader Paul Castellano.
He did.
Finally, Ruggiero suspected in 1980 disappearance of John Favara, which was a neighbor of Gotti's who had killed Gotti's 12-year-old son on accident in a car accident outside the house.
Well, it was a
bike on car.
mini bike, and he ran him over.
Ruggiero was later the subject of a government undercover investigation. Mobster turned government informant Wilfred Johnson
Fucking Wilford.
provided investigators with the layout of Ruggiero's home so that they could install 4 bugs and wiretaps. Investigators monitored Ruggiero's activities in narcotics, which they weren't even supposed to be doing, especially in the Gambino family. But guess what?
Right.
John Gotti, he was allowed to do whatever the fuck he wanted to do. Investigators later recorded a conversation between Ruggiero and Gene Gotti that implicated the 2 men in Castellano's murder. Who's the one that had the notebook with all the names and shit?
Junior Gotti.
Right.
Idiot. Ruggiero's uncle, Angelo Della Croce, was an original supporter. He was an OG supporter of Gambino boss Albert Anastasia.
That's right.
Who became underboss under Anastasia's successor, Carlo Gambino.
That's right.
Before Gambino died, he named Paul Castellano as boss, with Della Croce remaining as underboss.
He didn't like that at all.
Although Della Croce was unhappy with Gambino's decision, he supported Castellano in the name of family unity.
For a minute.
We gotta stick together.
For a minute.
Well, we know that doesn't last.
Right. Although Della Croce helped Ruggiero during his early years in the family, many observers felt that Della Croce was actually much closer to Gotti than anybody else. Della Croce's relationship with Ruggiero was tested when Peter Tambone, a Ruggiero associate, was arrested for narcotics trafficking. Well, Della Croce, he made it very clear that he would kill Ruggiero, Gotti, or anyone else he discovered dealing narcotics. He said, you know what? No. To save Tambone's life, Ruggiero instructed Tambone to claim that he was never even involved with heroin, only the laundering of the drug money. Like, dude, I didn't even see the drugs. I just got the money and cleaned it.
That's all. I mean, whatever, man. You can't fault me for making money, man.
That's it.
You know, Sammy Garano later said, I don't think if he lived, talking about Della Croce, he would have let Angelo get murdered. He would have probably put him on the shelf somewhere and appeased Paul that way. If he let Paul kill him, there would have been a war. I think he felt Paul's the boss, so let's fess up. This is the truth. This is what happened. Here are the tapes.
Right.
Then, if Paul followed up and said, well, I want him dead, Neil would have fought tooth and nail to save him. And if he couldn't, who knows what the fuck would have happened.
Right. And he also stated, Gravano, he said, I don't think John gave a fuck about Angelo or the tapes. I think he was looking to create a situation to capitalize on our grievances about Paul. There was tension between Agnello Della Croce and his followers, and even Paul Castellano and Frank DeCicco. They enjoyed their mutual respect. But when Ruggiero tried to convince DeCicco that Della Croce had real disputes against Castellano, he didn't believe him. To Ruggiero's unhappiness, DeCicco said that as far as he was concerned, his uncle was a faithful underboss to Paul. Angelo would also listen to his uncle's protege and childhood friend John Gotti. He would listen to him insult Della Croce about his Los Cosa Nostra bullshit. That Los Cosa Nostra bullshit.
This is the new age.
Yes. New Age Outlaws, baby.
When Della Croce was dying, Ruggiero was a constant visitor to his bedside until his death, December 2nd, 1985. Found the diagnosis of his uncle's terminal cancer, Paul Castellano issued an even stronger edict on narcotics, ruling that any member that was made after 1962 was strict. Why, people before that, Ken? They were strictly prohibited from any involvement in narcotics under the pain of death. He pressured up by pressuring the commission to issue a firm mafia-wide ban that would also carry an instant death penalty.
Oh, all right. This new edict was aimed directly at John Gotti, Ruggiero, and Della Croce, whom Castellano began to suspect had been secretly sanctioning and profiting from Gotti's narcotics operation, obviously. Old Paul Castellano, he hoped that these and a number of other politically motivated moves in the crime family would break the sudden, ambitious ascent of Ruggiero and John Gotti. He's like, these motherfuckers are coming up quick.
We all know what's going to happen.
Well, Ruggiero would frequently complain about the lack of money that he was earning through his illicit criminal enterprise. He's like, I'm not earning enough. I'm earning a lot of money with what? With what, Ruggie? Nothing. You ain't gonna say heroin, are you? No.
You dealing that smack?
No. I swear to you, I'm not. No. I swear to you.
Authorities later commented that, judging by appearances, however, both Ruggiero and John Gotti seemed blissfully unconcerned by a second consequence of the Ravenite Social Club wiretapping operation, which is a grand jury subpoena calling forth Ruggiero, John Gotti, and 10 other members of the Ravenite to discuss certain aspects of organized crime as revealed by the successful Operation Acorn.
Okay.
Gambino family capo John Carnaglia often complained about Ruggiero to fellow criminals, stating, dial any 7 numbers and there's a 50-50 chance that Angelo will answer the phone.
No shit.
Oh, wow.
Any? That's a lot of numbers.
What was he saying?
Wow.
What is he saying?
He's involved in every fucking thing.
Everywhere?
Every other Sunday, Ruggiero drove to Castellano's house in Tote Hill, Staten Island. He drove there to report to Castellano about the activities of the Virgin crew and the profits he could expect from the crew's hijacking and gambling operations. At home, Ruggiero would complain about Castellano's high-handed manner. He sneered that Castellano was a milk drinker and a pansy. He put down Castellano's 2 sons who were running Dial Poultry, which was they called them the Chicken Men, and called business advisors that Castellano had around him as the Jew Club.
The Jew Club.
He's got the Chicken Men and the Jew Club out there. I mean, this guy.
This is the fucking guy that's running our family.
He won't let us make money out there. The money's out there to be made, but we can't do it.
He referred to Thomas Gambino, who oversaw the family's interests in the garment center, as a sissy dressmaker.
Oh.
He also conjured up images of Castellano and Bellotti spending evenings together at Tot Hill whacking off. Oh, jeez. December 16th, 1985, only 2 weeks after Della Croce's death, Castellano and his new underboss, Thomas Bellotti, we know they were murdered outside a Sparks Steakhouse. John Gotti is now the role of Gambino family boss.
Oh.
Well, there you go, Ruggiero. You can do whatever you want now, buddy.
Well, given John Gotti's new position as Gambino crime family boss in 1985, he no longer handled the actual specifics of contract killings, and he assigned the job to, you guessed it, Ruggiero. Well, Ruggiero frequently insulted Gotti behind his back. This dude is just talking shit about everybody, which was recorded by FBI wiretaps. He considered Gotti a sick motherfucker whose fucking mouth goes a mile fucking minute.
Sounds like your mouth is the one that's going a mile a fucking minute.
He also complained that Gotti was always abusing and talking about people.
This guy's not self-aware at all.
Pot kettle. Holy shit. And they also that Gotti was wrong on a lot of things.
Jeez.
Even so, he spoke of a love for Gotti, whom he equated to a brother. I love him like a brother, but boy, that motherfucker is an idiot.
Ruggiero was considered John Gotti's biggest ego booster among his close associates, despite the behind-the-back barbs. He later became a father figure to John Gotti Jr., who considered him an uncle. Although Ruggiero and Gotti families have close, long-lasting ties, when Peter Gotti and Gotti Jr. were promoted to boss of the Gambino family, Ruggiero's son, Angelo Ruggiero Jr., and nephew Salvatore were not promoted to the ranks of made men.
Wow.
As Ruggiero's uncle Della Croce had done for Junior's father, John Gotti.
No shit.
All right, why'd that happen? Why that? They're probably talking shit about the Ruggieros, like those stupid fucking idiots.
Wow. Well, they weren't made men. Might be due to the legal troubles Angelo Ruggiero Sr. brought up upon John Gotti and the Gambino crime family after having his house tapped by the FBI.
Yeah, that probably could have something to do with it.
Right, and the United States Department of Justice. They both did it together. For reasons which have never been made entirely clear, mob associate Wilfred Johnson hated Ruggiero.
Okay.
Out of all the members of the Virgin crew, he seemed most intent as an informant on hurting Ruggiero, whom he referred to as that fat fuck.
I'm gonna bring down that fat fuck.
However, Johnson pointedly did not include John Gotti in his discussion of the Virgin narcotics operation, insisting to the FBI that he didn't even know too much about that subject.
Oh, look at him, still a little bit loyal there, huh?
Right, he's like, Gotti? No, he didn't know what was going on.
Well, the FBI obviously suspected that this was a lie, but Johnson nevertheless provided them with precise sketches of the interior of the Ruggiero home in Cedarhurst, New York, accompanied by recommendations on the best places to plant a wire transmitter.
Okay.
When that bug was planted in 82, the FBI was provided with what is now considered by many in law enforcement to be one of the most remarkable oral histories ever recorded on the progress of a major criminal conspiracy.
Yeah, this
dude's mouth never fucking shut up.
This opened the door for pretty much everything that happens from here on out.
Idiot.
Damn, Ruggiero. He later helped murder Gambino crime family street soldier Anthony Plight with John Gotti and Wilfred Johnson. And he did that for his uncle Della Croce in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
They just murdered somebody with an informant?
Wow. Citing Wilfred Johnson, James Cardinale, Mark Ryder, and George Uzenvik, FBI informants, the FBI's Gambino squad in Queens, New York. They all received permission from the United States Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. to seek a wiretap on Ruggiero's home phone, which it was granted on the 9th of 1981. What?
Yeah, but I assume it would
9th
be.
of November, 9th of November 1981.
I would assume it would be granted after they're killing people. They were investigating loan sharking and illegal gambling, but soon turned their attention towards the trafficking of heroin. The The tap telephone in Ruggiero's home was listed in his daughter Princess Ruggiero's name.
Wow.
It was singled out because he had told informants it was safe.
Yeah, sure.
They said that Ruggiero, only a few months after the Bargain wiretapping from Queens officials, he was openly discussing on the phone the loan sharking and gambling rackets that he, John, and Gene operated.
Son of a
Come
bitch.
on, guys.
So stupid.
How is it that
Don't make no sense.
we always get a
So
hold
dumb.
and we
I
have
mean-
like going into this stuff, the like perception that these mafia guys are
They're
like
smart.
fucking, they're smart, they're outrunning shit, but these guys are the dumbest motherfuckers.
I mean, just retarded.
Why would you talk on the phone when you know your club just got bugged?
Right. I don't give a shit if you know 100% it's safe. Don't talk on that son of a bitchin' phone. Damn.
Sad. We learned that lesson when somebody would get raided for an ounce of weed.
Right.
Never talked about weed on the phone again.
No.
Fucking retarded, dude. Jeez.
Well, in its initial request to wiretap the telephone, the OFBI listed Peter Gotti and Richard Gotti as loan shark collectors and stated that Ruggiero was a known murderer who would, without question, seek physical retribution and possibly murder a Shylock victim who was unable to pay his debts.
Why not?
Somehow, Ruggiero found out that agents had been listening to him and went into hiding.
Oh.
The affidavit caused panic and deception within the Della Croce Gotti faction regime and Paul Castellano loyalists in the Gambino crime family as well, whose titular boss had imposed a death penalty on family members engaged in drug dealing. Like, dude.
Well, guess what? You ate the boss style.
Right. But
Somehow.
these guys were all still split.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Well, sometime in late June of 85, the Virgin crew finally demonstrated it could get accurate information. Ruggiero obtained a pasted-together version of the last of the FBI's 6 Ruggiero electronic surveillance affidavits. How?
Right.
The notes told him that FBI agent John Conroy was not all he cracked himself up to be, and that attorney Michael Coro was not wired into the Eastern District as he imagined. Wait, what? Why? Where is he getting this from?
Right. Ooh, I'm sure they have friends in the inside. Critically, the FBI working papers confirmed the depth of and probe and the fact that it was supported by a 3-bug invasion of Ruggiero's home.
Wow.
Right.
Thought it was 4, but yeah.
Sources advised Ruggiero became scared to death because he had been lying systematically to Paul Castellano and his uncle Angelo de Croce. That he had constantly told them that he had not been dealing in drugs by himself, but merely cleaning up loose ends of his brother Salvatore's narcotic operation. He's like, it's not me.
Blame him.
Trying to
Salvatore's-
stop this. Look, he's got a problem, guys. I'm trying to save him here.
He's already in hiding himself.
Right. He's like, I'm trying to save him here. Clean this shit up.
Might as well blame him.
Right.
December 1st, 1984, the Ruggiero wiretap was removed because he moved from Howard Beach, Queens, to Cedarhurst, New York, to a house he was having renovated.
Okay.
Ruggiero told informants it was a good move for him and that the FBI would not know where he lived. Oh, okay. In fact, pen registers at the Our Friends Social Club had disclosed several calls to his home in Cedarhurst.
Oh, gee.
And FBI agents were watching on the day Ruggiero moved in.
Are you fucking
wow.
serious?
The agents had increased physical surveillance of Ruggiero and John Gotti, suspecting they might be dealing drugs.
These fucking idiots.
Well, you guys are suspected right.
All right. Despite Ruggiero's growing uneasiness and his efforts to discuss matters in code, evidence of narcotics trafficking began to grow around him, mostly from his tape-recorded telephone conversations with drug traffickers Alphonse Siska and Arnold Squitieri.
Oh, Squiddy.
17th April, 1984. Ruggiero met with Jack Conroy. Well, Conroy was an associate who said he had a source who worked at the telephone company, which is notified when phones are being legally tapped, and he could find out who authorized the taps. I don't know about he can find out who authorized it, but he can find out if your phone's tapped, right?
Well, I would assume there's only... If your phone's tapped, it's some sort of law.
1 week later, he told Ruggiero this would cost about $8,000 for his telephone company source and $200 each for his partner and him. Ruggiero is like,
Oh, look at that telephone guy getting over.
Ruggiero was like, whatever, man, just get the fucking done.
Right. In a few days, Conroy delivered a bill of goods. He said the taps were legal because of a March 18th federal court order in the Southern District of New York, which is in Manhattan and the Bronx. This caused Ruggiero to speculate that he was only peripherally involved in an investigation aimed at someone else.
Right.
Just in case, however, he told Conroy, who had just suckered Ruggiero out of $1,000, that he would get some other telephone numbers for him to check. Conroy told Ruggiero, sure, I'll do it for another $1,000.
Right. Might as well.
Jack Conroy was really an undercover FBI agent who was posing as a telephone repairman.
Oh, my. This guy's a morons. Ruggiero, at the time the indictments were being prepared, seemed to not even be worried about outcome of the trial. He spent $40,000 remodeling his house in Cedarhurst, and he was overheard saying, "The bugs in this house were a bunch of bullshit. Nothing's coming." His confidence later seemed ridiculous, even to his Confederates.
Well, I don't know, man.
After Castellano was arrested for racketeering and other crimes, he learned for the first time that his home had been bugged by the FBI, and that the Ruggiero tapes were the legal basis for it. Oh, no. Castellano's like, what the fuck?
Well, Castellano went to Ruggiero's uncle, Angelo, and demanded he give over the tapes. Della Croce tried to placate Castellano, saying there were many personally embarrassing moments on the tapes that Ruggiero did not want anyone to hear.
Oh, no.
He said that he wanted the tapes not to justify murdering him, but for his lawyers who were trying to suppress the introduction of his own tapes in the upcoming 1985 Mafia Commission trial.
No, fucking idiots.
Wow.
If it wasn't for these tapes...
How are they getting the tapes, though?
Right.
I don't understand that.
But if it wasn't for the bugs from Ruggiero, dude, I don't think that 1985 shit would even happen.
Probably not.
Fucking John Gotti. Idiot. Ensuing sessions between Ruggiero, Gotti, and Della Croce, Ruggiero remained adamant about not giving up the tapes. He accused his uncle of betrayal for even entertaining the thought. He told his lawyers he would kill them if they even gave up the tapes.
So he must been able to get the tapes
Somehow.
through his lawyers.
Right, probably.
Because they have to review the fucking evidence and shit, right?
Sammy Gravano, he stated, "I didn't know till later that the bug on him gave the government the okay, the right legally, to bug Paul.
Oh, wow.
It was Angie's big mouth.
Yep.
I mean, he's caught on tape all over the fucking place. His tapes, the tape with Jerry Lang and Donnie Shacks, you name it. And Angie's on tape. And always talking about stuff he ain't even supposed to be mentioning to nobody. We found out about these tapes on Angie when he was arrested. They eventually would become a major fucking problem. Ultimately, people would say these tapes and what was on them probably led to Paul's downfall.
Some people say.
But what really led to it was also a lot of things he was doing that people in the family were against. And when the time came, when it came down to the wire, this is why me and Frank and the other guys went along with it. Right then, though, Angie's tapes had nothing to do with me whatsoever. I was never at Angie's house. I'm not on any of his tapes in any way, shape, or form. That was all Angie's problem, John Gotti's problem, and Paul's.
And Paul's, yeah. June 86, Ruggiero successfully arranged the murder of Gambino crime family capo Robert DiBernardo. Sammy Gravano later said, "I said to Angie that if Dib said anything, it didn't mean nothing. Just talk. Dib wasn't dangerous. I asked Angie to reach John in jail and see if we couldn't hold up on this.
Right.
And when John came out, we would discuss it. It was something we could hold up on." Angie immediately responded that it had to be done. John was steaming. John's brother Jeannie, and Jeannie's crew would do the hit at his house at the mother of one of the soldiers.
Oh.
I was to get Dib there for the meeting, and whoever was sitting behind Dib would do it. But the house wasn't available. Angie came back to me. He said John was really hot. He wanted it done right. He wanted it done right, and he wanted me to do it. I didn't know what Angie was telling John about my reservations, though. I knew Angie was into Dib for $250,000.
Oh,
I would
wow.
imagine that this could have played a part in everything.
Most likely.
But I don't know if John knew that. Maybe John had some other motive, some hidden resentment in the past. Frankie and me had a tough time even getting John to elevate Dib to captain after Paul got hit.
Wow.
But I never questioned that he gave the order.
Oh, okay.
Jeez.
Wow. Well, after the botched murder of Lucchese crime member Anthony Casso, who was a soldier at the time, Casso openly called Ruggiero an idiot. Insulted, Ruggiero decided to have Casso murdered.
Jeez.
A task entrusted to Michael Paradiso, one of John Gotti's oldest friends. Paradiso, in turn, assigned the actual task of killing to 3 hoodlums, including a Staten Island. That's the problem, too.
Right.
Like, hey, dude, I trust you to do this because John likes you. Can you personally take care of this? Yeah, no problem. Hey, come here, bud. You guys want to make some money?
Murder boys.
You guys want to make some money? Make some money? Make some money?
Hey, you guys want to make some money? Do you?
Well, he signed a task to 3 hoodlums, including Staten Island thug James Heidel, a nephew of Gambino crime family capo Daniel Marino.
All right.
Heidel, he shot Castle 5 times.
Damn. What the fuck?
But failed to kill him. A mistake that proved costly. Kidnapped by Stephen Caracappa and Luis Appolito, Heidel hideously tortured by Anthony Castle for 12 hours. He's like, you want to kill me, motherfucker? You want to kill me, bitch? And then, guess what? I'm going to kill you, motherfucker. And he did that as a warning to Ruggiero.
Wow.
All right. He's like, you go back and tell Ruggiero. And you know better yet?
You ain't telling him nothing. This will tell him everything.
Right.
The incident further rattled Gotti's faith in Ruggiero's abilities as a capo and created a major managerial problem.
You think this is the one that did it? Holy shit.
As family boss, Gotti was being ushered into the great riches of the upper-level rackets, ones that required captains with some intelligence and business sense who could help him run the organization. Ruggiero proved to have none of these attributes. After the attempted...
No way that Gotti was even respected at the commission, dude. Impossible.
Of course he was, because they knew he was hot-headed and he murdered the shit out of people.
Right.
After the attempted shooting of Casso, John Gotti Jr. later said that Ruggiero was placed on the shelf for ordering the attack. Like,
Which
get
he
him out of
was.
here. We ain't going to kill him, but get the fuck out of here, dude. You're not getting no more rackets. You're not even getting nothing.
That's only worked out well for one guy.
Going on the shelf?
Yeah. He ended up living to be like 80.
Dude that went to Arizona?
Yeah.
Who was that? Fucking Bonanno, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Joey Bananas.
Yeah. Despite orders from his father, old John Jr., he continued his friendship with his father's old friend, and he spoke to him regularly.
Mm-hmm.
After Ruggiero was notified of his brother Salvatore's death in a plane crash, he, along with Gene Gotti and John Carnaglia, they went to Salvatore's hideout in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. They were searching for a yet-to-be-sold shipment of heroin and cash. A few months earlier, however, hoping to catch up with this elusive bro and to gain evidence to indict John Gotti, the FBI's Gambino squad had thoroughly wired Ruggiero's home again.
Shit. Not only was his telephone line bugged, but microphones were placed in his kitchen, den, and dining
This
room.
dude just falls for it every fucking time.
Federal agents were able to record Ruggiero's attorney, Michael Coro, offering condolences to Ruggiero on the death of his brother, and then saying, "Gene found the heroin." This is a fucking lawyer, and he don't know.
Right.
The talk of heroin in the wake of Salvatore's death and the connection to a Gotti family relative seized the attention of the investigating FBI
No
agents.
shit.
I assume the investigation into Ruggiero suddenly held promise and leading to indictments of major family operatives.
I would fucking think so.
Dude, this dude is just fucking everybody in the family. He got Paul indicted.
All right.
Now he's getting these guys. Holy shit.
Wow.
Why is he? They should have. Wow.
Well, Ruggiero, as we all know, he's known as a constant chatterbox, given his nickname Quack Quack, providing a running commentary on everything going on around him. Like this dude, basically, he was like Paulie Walnuts.
This is Paulie. Hey, T, you hear what I says? I says to him. Yeah, we heard you.
Right. Hilarious. It's funny, too, that Tony always laughs.
I know. It's like, yeah, the good one.
He don't laugh the first time, but he always laughs when he's like, hey, did you hear that?
Hear what I said, T? I told him. Hilarious.
Everyone who visited him had to endure endless gossip, complaints, and general indiscretions. This dude was just, shut the fuck up, will ya?
Dude, this just proves how stupid this guy is. Because he knows he's in the mafia. Like, somebody's not going to go back and tell fucking somebody that he's talking shit about him.
Well, he thinks because he's a made man, he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Jeez.
The death of his brother Salvatore hit Ruggiero hard, and he was often overheard on FBI wiretaps in Cedarhurst, New York. He was recently speaking about his brother to Gerlando Sasha and Joseph Lapresti, his 2 drug trafficking partners. He was like, man, my bro. I miss my bro.
Oh, man, he was such a great guy.
He didn't deserve it. That should have been me.
Unlike his brother Salvatore, he became a multimillionaire from his successful large-scale drug trafficking operation. Ruggiero would never rise above a wealthy street-level mobster.
Though, yeah.
He later told Joseph Lapresti, "You know I lost my brother. I said to myself, I'll have to get drunk. I had 2 vodkas. I went in my room, I closed the door, and I cried."
Oh, well.
Oh, the Bugs also overheard Angelo saying how difficult it was accepting his brother's death because the body was in fucking pieces.
Oh.
He added, "If he would have been shot in the head and they found him in the streets, it's part of our life. I could accept that."
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he got dismantled in a damn plane crash.
Right. Well, from jail, John Gotti ordered the murder of Robert DiBernardo. He said, "Sammy, that's you, buddy."
Yeah.
Both DiBernardo and Ruggiero had been vying to succeed DeChico as underboss until Ruggiero accused DiBernardo of challenging Gotti's leadership.
Well, pitting him against them. Look at that.
When Ruggiero also under indictment, had his bail revoked for his abrasive behavior in preliminary hearings, a frustrated Gotti instead promoted Armon to underboss. Yeah.
Oh, Joseph Armon.
That's going to piss Ruggiero off here in a minute.
Yeah. Well, after the first heroin trafficking case against Ruggiero, Gene Gotti and John Carneglia ended in a mistrial. Mister. In a mistrial because of jury tampering. Ruggiero remained in federal detention. His bail still revoked for the second trial.
Well, I ain't letting his ass out.
This also resulted in a mistrial, again for suspected jury tampering. For the third trial in 1989, Ruggiero was finally released on bail and served as a defendant in the case. He had terminal lung cancer. Later, his drug trafficking partners, Gene and John, were both convicted and sentenced to 50.
Wow.
Gotta go.
He said, I'm dying. Fuck it, I'm telling everybody.
I don't think he caught it. Oh,
He was a defendant.
There we go. Yeah, the defendant means you're being tried.
He was a witness.
He's a defendant first.
Sammy Gravano then heard that John wanted to have Ruggiero murdered for allowing himself to be recorded by the FBI. About time, frickin' John.
Right.
Gravano convinced Gotti that because Ruggiero was dying of cancer, that it was not even worth it.
Well, no, because he could still squeal like a little bitch.
Right. Instead, John stripped Ruggiero of his rank as capo of the Virgin crew and severed him from all criminal activities.
Oh, wow.
He's like, dude, you're on the shelf, bud.
After turning state's evidence to avoid prosecution, former underboss Gravano reported that during the last months of Ruggiero's life, both he and Gene Gotti urged John to visit his near-death childhood friend. Gotti refused to see his once loyal soldier and friend because he was still angry over Ruggiero's criminal activities being recorded.
Right.
Monday, December 4th, 1989, Angelo Ruggiero died of cancer in Howard Beach, Queens at the age of 49 years old. His son and namesake, Angelo Ruggiero Jr., plus Ruggiero Sr.'s nephew, Salvatore Ruggiero Jr., would later follow their fathers into organized crime. Angelo Jr. was convicted of grand larceny of May of 98 and sent to prison for 1 to 3 years.
That's all we know about this guy.
All
huh?
we know about
He's
that.
probably out doing things. Look at Ruggiero, dude. This guy is just a...
He just ran his fucking mouth as much as he could,
Right.
dude.
Son of a bitch.
Was just yapping for as long as he... Anyway, it didn't even matter.
And it's funny, the guy who actually should have been fucking dealt with was Gravano.
Right. Well,
Son of a bitch.
not at first. Because Gravano was the one killing everybody. He didn't turn until John was already in prison.
Shouldn't
Well,
have,
on the trial to go to prison.
shouldn't have turned anyway.
Well,
That's what you get. I just can't believe he's still alive, to tell you the
he's
truth.
still alive.
Can't believe it.
He is still alive and thriving with a podcast, which we'll get to that guy.
They're like, do you ever get scared going to New York? He's like, well, I don't go there very often, but yeah, I have my head on a swivel. Motherfucker, you don't even give a fuck. Ain't nobody taking you out.
I might. Oh, well, I don't think
They would have took him out.
they're Gotti. Nobody likes Gotti nowadays in the mob. They all think he's a fucking, what you call it?
Yeah, still fucking
So-
snitch, though.
Yeah, well, so's Gotti. He's not. He is.
Yeah.
Somewhat. Yeah, Gravano. We'll get to him. Dude was did all the good dirty deeds for John Gotti. Then said, fuck this. As soon as he heard John Gotti talking shit about him on tape, he said, fuck you, buddy. I ain't loyal to you no more.
Yep.
Then went to prison and then got out of prison. And then in like 2000 something went back to prison because he's a fucking degenerate. And got out. And now he's like 80 years old and has a podcast. So look at that. And probably he's making buku buck because he gets hundreds of thousands of views every video he puts out.
Big
So.
time.
Yeah, but we'll get to that story next month as we round out the Gambino family and be done with the fucking Gambino family. Honestly,
Yeah.
the Gambino family is the most boring family we've covered so far.
Yeah.
I'm over fucking John Gotti, dude.
Right.
So over John
Fucking
Gotti.
John Gotti.
Unfortunately, fucking Sammy the Bull is going to be all about John Gotti.
Right.
But nevertheless, we'll do that before we move on to Lucchese. But in the meantime, next week's Outlaws and Gunslingers episode is going to be all about the Hells Angels. And most likely we'll do the UK, their little crimes in the UK, slightly more longer than the Australia one. And then we'll have Canada, and then we'll round it out with the rest of the world before we actually end the series with profiling George Christie. Another one of these guys been to prison, and then he's got his own podcast now. So
Yeah.
there's fucking criminals. Who knew it? There's criminals over here on YouTube making it big. So yeah, that's what we got coming up on the stuff for us on Outlaws and Gunslingers. Meanwhile, if you're subscribed to YouTube, we got Battles of the American Civil War going fucking hot. 1864 about to come to an end. 1865, this war is about to come to an end. So subscribe at YouTube if you're not already. And if you're just listening on Apple, Spotify, give us a review. Answer that Spotify question. We'll see you next week for some more outlaw biker gang bullshit. We are the Monthly Michiganders. We
Bang dang.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe so you never miss out on new episodes of Outlaws and Gunslingers or Battles of the American Civil War, right here on the Bang Dang Network. And don't forget to check out those playlists.